Hi, so today I'm going to be taking a look at a SRAM GX. I've been running this system for about 6 months now, so I just thought I'd do a quick review to share my thoughts on it. So what I'm going to do is I'll go through the individual parts, tell you my thoughts about them, and then I'll just wrap up my overall thoughts on the system itself. Okay, so I'm going to start with the derailleur first. So all of SRAM's 11-speed derailleurs share the same basic design. The main thing that differentiates them is the quality of the materials used. So obviously on the premium ones you're going to have lighter weight materials used, and the cost is obviously going to increase. So the one thing that I really like on the SRAM stuff as opposed to the Shimano stuff is the little lockout feature that it has. So it's got a little button here, and what you can do is you can lock the cage out. So you just hold the cage, push it forward, press the little lock button in, hold the button, let go of the cage, and then you've got the cage locked out, which allows you to get the wheel on and off very easily, and also allows you to repair the chain or take the chain off. And then to release it, all you do is you just push forward on the cage, the button releases, you let go, and you've got your tension back. It's a really handy little feature. I just thought I'd mention it because a few people don't seem to be aware that it's actually on the SRAM stuff. It's also on their 10-speed clutch systems as well. And I'll move on to the main body of the derailleur itself. So like I've mentioned in my X1 review, the body of the derailleur sticks out quite far from the frame, which means that it is prone to catching rocks and getting damaged. I much prefer the Shimano's Shadow Plus system, where it sits closer into the frame. It's less likely to catch any damage. And the other feature I thought I'd talk about is the jockey wheels that this system uses. So it's a narrow wide jockey wheels that they're using, so they're slightly larger than normal jockey wheels. It works really well on the lower jockey wheel, but the upper jockey wheel tends to get fouled with mud, and what tends to happen is the chain will derail and then just slip off, and then you'll have to literally stop and then reline it back up, because it tends to just sit and rub on one side. I think SRAM realised this is a problem, because on their 12-speed Eagle setup, they've got rid of the narrow wide, or I believe they call them X-Sync pulleys. So it's just a smooth pulley at the top and the X-Sync at the bottom, or narrow wide. And one other thing I'd mention is the B-tension screw for adjusting how far the derailleur sits in or out from the cogs. Seems to be particularly finicky or fussy on the SRAM 11-speed stuff. Again, I think they've recognized that this is a problem, because the 12-speed now comes with a little guide which helps you set it up. So it's just a plastic mold that sits in there, allows you to set the spacing right. It's only a problem when you're first setting it up, just trying to get it right. It's mainly when you're going up into the 42. It's usually when it tends to become apparent. But overall, it's a nice derailleur. It works really well, and I've got very few problems with it. Okay, so onto the shifter. Now, SRAM's been using the same basic design for years now, since the 9-speed. So it's a single-way release, so you push in to go down a gear and push in to go up a gear, as opposed to the Shimano, where you can push in and pull. You can also push as well on the Shimano one, but most people use the thumb for going down gears, and your index finger for going up gears. But it's really a personal preference. I'm quite happy riding either. It doesn't really bother me. I'd say I probably prefer the SRAM one over the Shimano one, just because I just find it easier. The other way that the SRAM varies from the Shimano system is the way it handles multi-shift. So it's slightly different from the way Shimano does it. So if you want to go into lower gears or into the larger cogs, it's the same as the Shimano system. So you can either singly shift, or you can press and hold the lever, and then you can multi-shift. Where it varies from the Shimano one is the Shimano one you can also drop a few gears by using the smaller shifter, whereas the SRAM you can only do individual gear changes, so into the smaller cogs. So I also wanted to mention about the feel of the shifting. The SRAM stuff always has a much crisper change to it, and it's much louder than the Shimano stuff. I much prefer the way the SRAM stuff shifts. Again, that's personal preference, but I always find the Shimano stuff to be a little bit sort of vague. It's not quite as clear as the SRAM stuff. Okay, so onto the cassette now. So I've got the XG11.93 cassette. This is the heaviest of the cassettes that they do, I think. But they do a full range of different cassettes, just how much you want to spend on them, and how much the weight penalty is a concern to you. They go from reasonably priced to crazy. It's entirely your choice which one you want. The main difference is on how they're manufactured. So this one is steel cogs, and they're fully pinned, and the more expensive they get, the less pinned they are, and they're basically machine them from one piece of aluminium or aluminum, and then they pin the 42 cog on. It really just depends on what you like. Another thing, if you've already got a standard free hub body, so Shimano style one, you could always run the Shimano 11-speed cassettes. They're fully compatible. Save yourself having to buy a new free hub if you haven't already got one. It's just an option. The Shimano stuff is much more reasonably priced, in my opinion. But I'll show you the benefits of the XD driver body. So the way it works is you're going to need a standard lock ring to secure it in place, and then obviously a chain whip if you want to remove it. So instead of using a lock ring like the Shimano system, it's already integrated into the system. So you just insert your lock ring into the cassette, and then you just spin to tighten it up. So the way it works, see if I can zoom in there. This one needs a bit of a clean. So you would just slide the cassette on, and then it's threaded. So you would just tighten it up, and then I'm not fully tighten this one because it needs cleaning, and that's it. You don't need to add the lock ring on, and it's ready to go. The benefit of this over the Shimano system is that you don't end up with the free hub body looking like this, because it threads and then it has just some small splines at the bottom, but it's threaded into place so it keeps it secure. A note I would say on this is when you're installing it, make sure that it does have some grease on it, because these tend to dry out and then they can get seized. So make sure you've when you're changing them over, or when you're servicing the free hub, take them off and make sure they're greased. But overall, I've really enjoyed this cassette. It's been pretty reliable. Okay, so just a quick wrap up on my overall thoughts on the SRAM GX system. So overall, I really like the SRAM 11-speed stuff. It works really well, and there's very few things I'd change on it. Just a couple of notes if you were thinking of buying the SRAM 11-speed stuff as aftermarket stuff and it didn't come spec'd on the bike. What I'd personally recommend is to mix and match the parts. So I'd spend the majority of my money on the shifter itself, because that has the biggest impact on the way the system feels, and the higher end shifters such as the X01 and the XX1 do feel much nicer than the lower end ones, so the X1 and the GX, and I assume the NX1 as well. Next thing would be the derailleur itself. I tend to be happy with the lower end models, mainly because, as I pointed out on the mech itself, it is quite prone to getting damaged, like all derailleurs really. So I'm happy to take the weight penalty on the derailleur itself, and then it'd be cheaper to swap it out if it does get damaged. So finally onto the cassette. This is where you're going to make the biggest savings in weight. So if you tend to go through cassettes pretty quickly, I'd certainly recommend the 1150, which is the fully steel cassette, but you are going to pay a weight penalty for that. So if you find you don't use cassettes very much, I'd certainly recommend the higher end ones, although they are expensive. You do have quite a big weight saving on them. But you can also get aftermarket cassettes. There's quite a few of them popping up now. And as I said before, you can also run Shimano cassettes, so if you're not worried about losing the 10 tooth and the high ranger gears, you can get them significantly cheaper. Okay, so that was my review of the SRAM GX. If you got any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them in the box below. Thumbs up are always appreciated. Thanks again for watching.